Okay.
We're here as a guest, and so we have our host here with us, and she's gonna have some questions. You're gonna be nice to her as you ask your questions and your responses. But again, just be straightforward with the responses and the information that you can give her, that you want. With that.
Hey there, my name is Naja, Daby, and I'm part of the senior team here at the Department of Education. I'm also a California native, so I'm particularly excited that you guys are here.
When they say that means Northern California.
I lived in LA for 10 years, but you were right.
Yes. When they say California to LA folks, it's the northern NoCal. You're probably a Giants fan too, which is...
It's true. I am actually. That is actually totally true. I'm both a Giants and a Niners fan. And Dodger Stadium just never did it for me. Sorry, folks. I tried many times, and the football thing was sort of out for the count. But I did live in LA for 10 years, and I thought it was great, which is actually unusual for most people who are from San Francisco.
So you just say it was 80 degrees when you left, and that's okay. Go ahead.
Yeah, so I will say this, I'm very grateful to all of you for being here. I'm also pretty proud of myself for being here, because that means I made it through winter, and winter is actually not my favorite season around here. So first, quick show of hands. You guys are all in high school, yes?
Yes.
Ninth grade? Well, people just raised their hands, so maybe not know. 10? 11?
No.
Are you sure? So some of you, okay, confused? Raise your hand.
Proper planning.
And seniors? All right, and your competition is tomorrow and Friday, right?
Just
Friday. Okay. And how many of you are confident that you guys are going to kick butt? Again, some confusion. Okay. And how many of you are confident you're in college? Okay, so that's the best so far. That's the best. Just want to get a little read of where you guys are. I thought I would talk a little bit about myself, just so you know sort of who you're talking to and what I do here, and then would open things up for questions. I love to hear from you about kind of what your worlds look like, and if you have questions for me about what my world looks like, what my job is like, what it's like to work here, what it's like to work for the president, why I do what I do, anything you want to ask, I am happy to answer those questions. So like I said, my name is Naja Daby. I've been a part of the administration since 2009. Started actually right around when the secretary started. And I did come here from California to do very specifically this. I went to all public schools in California, including both, from kindergarten all the way through graduate school, in fact. And I'm very proud of that. I'm probably one of the few members of the team here that's very much a product of public education and believe very strongly that if we give all of you all a really awesome opportunity to succeed, that you all will go do amazing things, whatever those things are. And for me personally, this felt like a real opportunity to make sure that more kids have that opportunity and for us to sort of do good for more folks. And was particularly inspired by, in my case, both the president and the secretary's vision around what it takes to make sure that everybody has a full range of opportunities to be successful. I work here in the Office of Innovation. There's really no point in me going into how we are structured because we are a large organization of about 5,000 people, about $70 billion a year. The sort of ins and outs of how that work are pretty complicated, as you might imagine. But the division that I run, it's about 100 people. It's somewhere between $1 and $2 billion a year. And the division that I run is really focused on giving money to districts and nonprofit organizations that work with schools day in and day out. So most of the role for the Federal Department of Education is the federal government gives money to states, states give money to your district, so LA Unified, and then the district gives money to schools, and sort of there's this long chain. I get to kind of skip the middleman, so we give money directly to different school districts who are doing really interesting work, whether that's in STEM, whether that's in giving teachers different kinds of support so they can teach you new and exciting content, whether that's about working with your families in different kinds of ways, so lots of different things. And so that for me is also really fun and a pretty neat opportunity, and that's across a whole different range of grant programs, about 25 different grant programs that sit here. And one of the things that sits in my world is all of our STEM efforts. And so by STEM, I mean science, technology, engineering, and math, which I suspect you all might be familiar with as a concept, although it is not a commonly understood acronym in the world. And that is because this president in particular is really passionate about STEM, and not just so that folks like you can go to amazing competitions and learn fantastic things and be the next generation of engineers and scientists, but also because I think we know that if you give kids really enriching STEM learning experiences, that it actually makes people really engaged in learning and helps you think about different kinds of things. And so if you're going to go be a scientist or not, there's still a tremendous value to those sets of skills. And so trying to make sure that every kid has those opportunities. So that is why you got me, of all of the bunch of folks here. And we are going to switch to the sort of Q&A portion of our conversation. We'll stop in about 35 minutes or so, and then we will transition and go out to the hallway, and then we will do a quick photo with the secretary, who is here in the building but running between lots of different things and has been traveling this week, but is excited to take a picture with all of you. So let me pause there, and I have questions I could ask you, but let me see if any of you have questions you want to start with by asking.
What made you want to get involved in education at the national level, considering it's so far sort of removed from actual educating?
Yep. So actually I didn't start at the national level. I actually very much do the national level work because of this particular president and this particular secretary. And for me personally, the reason I wanted to sort of make that switch from thinking about much more kind of local level work was really because it was a chance to sort of impact more schools and more kids, right? And so for me, I love my job. I do not have an expectation. There are plenty of people that work in the federal government for their whole lives, and this is sort of where they are. I do not expect that is the case for me. I expect that I will do this because this is something that's really exciting for me, and that I will figure out what I do next, and I will likely go back to something that is much more local, so go back to a school district. But felt very much like it was a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity, and that I wasn't going to have the chance to do that again, and so it was important to take advantage of it.
Come on.
Patient.
I want the Cal Poly question.
So last question. So I'm interested in my own education, obviously, but what kind of examples can you cite that the Department of Education has done in the past couple of years that has a direct relationship to us?
For you all in particular?
Yeah, just like, for example, LAUSD.
So we actually have done a bunch of different things with LAUSD. It's harder for, I actually don't know very specifically, what things specifically might have affected each of your schools. So we gave a large grant to LAUSD to work more closely with your teachers to make sure that they have the supports and the sets of skills that they need to implement what's called the Common Core in California, so sort of higher standards for what you all need to know in order to graduate from high school, to how to make sure that your teachers both understand what those are, understand what they mean, understand how that should translate to a different